I've been asked about the additional tools I have in my Illustrator toolbar. These down here. And in this series, I'm going to introduce you to them. So in this video, we're going to talk about these here, which is actually 4 tools. They belong to the plugin WidthScribe. And these 2 as well. And you see there's also a panel. I'm going to close that first, and we're going to leave that one open, the Astute Body. But also, we need to talk about this one here, Dynamic Sketch. And it also has a panel. I'm going to leave that open. Now, the problem that these all solve is the following. When you draw with the paintbrush tool, then you can use calligraphy brushes. Let's take a look at the brushes panel. In here you have the calligraphy brushes up there, and let's double click one. When you are using a graphic tablet, which I have not been doing for 10 years or so, then you can use the features of the graphic tablet to get a thicker stroke. So let's turn on the variation here and let's set this to pressure. And then it's the angle, so we have to do it like this. And then you see the angle changes and also the stroke width will change. And we can also do this with a size and set this to pressure and turn on the variation just like that. Now, this is great. But when you just didn't really nail it, but need to do some corrections, then you're lost. Because this is written into the path, but you cannot access it. So you cannot change it later when editing the path. So you want to have it a little wider here and a little smaller there. That's not possible, but at least you can draw it. On the other hand, we have something else. So if you have a path, then when it doesn't have a calligraphy brush applied, it can have a variable width profile like this. And this can also be made with the width tool in Illustrator. This is just plain native Illustrator. These are great because you can precisely control them, but you cannot draw them like you can with the brush tool. Now, what this tool does, the Dynamic Sketch tool by Astute Graphics, it can actually draw that. We can use that, and it has some functionality that works without a graphic tablet, so which is these up here. Let's turn them on. So let's just do that. And if you sketch something like you tend to do, so then you can just sketch along and it will correct that, like on paper. And also when you do it like this, then it will automatically close that. You see, like that. And it also has this kind of sketching like this. So let's get the string to 0 so it can do this, and you get rid of that line. So that's what it does. But if you take a look at here, then you see it can also use graphic tablet functionality, pressure, wheel, tilt, etc. I set it to sketching speed because that's all I can do without a graphic tablet. And when that happens, so I'm drawing slowly and then faster, then you see the width changes. Let's have that in a slightly different color. I'm going to have that in light blue like this. And when we now take a look at just this one, then you see it has a width profile applied. I have drawn that. So that's also what this Dynamic Sketch can do. And it gets more precise if you set it to graphic tablet functionality. So with just the drawing speed, you cannot really use it. So what do these now do? With these, I have opened the preferences, so you see they have a lot of preferences. And then let's just go to the width brush tool. And with these, you can also paint that. You see it gets thicker when I paint over it, so you can paint those width markers. Let's make them visible. We are going to the width selector tool, like this. And then you see we've got all these red markers. Those are all those width points that you can also access with the native width tool. If you go to that, then you see, you scroll over, then we have all these points, and you can double click them and then you can set them up, which is quite laborious because you always have to open this dialog box. And the width selector tool solves that as well, because with it you can select one of these and then specify what you want to specify. You can also select more and then have them average like that. Let's undo that. You can also spread them out evenly and all of that kind of stuff. Or you can just do some tapering of this stroke. So that's what the selector does. It can also delete them, just like this. We have the width gradient as well, and we have width eraser. Now eraser is quite clear, because we can also just go over this and then erase them. But we also have this width gradient, and for that I'm going to use just another tool. So I'm going to scroll to the side because we're going to need that as well. So let's just draw a circle, and I don't want a width profile on it yet. So let's have the circle. And then we're going to use yet another one, the AG offset tool, which does like this. So you can draw out some more circles that are offset. And again, you see in those options, it has a lot of options, and you are pressing the up and down arrow tool to add more of these circles to it, more of these offset paths, just like this. And you see you have all these options. You can set up the steps and the positioning and whatnot. So let's close that one. And now let's see what it did. So we're going to the appearance panel, which is down here, like so. And you see what it has done. It's a live effect, which is always nice. Let's set this to 1 point, like this. So I want to have all these circles. So what we need to do is expand the appearance, just like this. And let's go here, expand the appearance. And then you see we've got all these circles. I'm going to make them just a little darker. And then I need one more copy of them later on. But for this, now we're going to take this one here. I don't need dynamic sketch anymore, and also the appearance panel. Let's go to the width gradient tool, and there we have the panel for it. And you see when I now drag a gradient over this, then we can have an increasing width, which is set by dragging this gradient. Let's go to the tool again, and you see you can set up a curve for that. And it also has some settings, so it has some curves for that. Let's apply them, and then you get some different kinds of widths. Let's apply that once more, and you see you get this kind of stuff. So that's what the gradient does. And then we have this one here. This one is not in a tool. For this one, we have to go into the menu. Let's select all of this. This is just an image below it. And then we can go to Object, with Stamp, and we're going to make this with Top Object, like this. It takes a couple of minutes, and then you see we've got this nice result. And again, we have some settings and can set up this curve in order to get this gradient adjusted like this. So you get some kind of halftone in this and get these nice results here. So that's what WidthScribe is about, and also the AG offset and a little of this dynamic sketch tool.